going on, Jeromes? We are in the thick THICC of the off season, so that means it's list season. It is NFL Top 100 season eventually. Also, it's Mount Rushmore season. Now, Mount Rushmore just screams summer, doesn't it? I've actually never seen Mount Rushmore. I gotta get the kids out there because I'm sure that they'd be super interested as they're playing with like their Nintendos, huh? All right, so 4 old dead guys carved into stone. Cool, great. Awesome. But so yeah, Mount Rushmore. I like it as a a sports conversation thing because it's very easy. Who's your top 4 and blah 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 blah, and then debates can ensue. Just like what's your Mount Rushmore of game day eats? So chicken wings, hot dog macaroni. So chicken wings are number 1. Obviously, they're the George Washington. You get into like debates of like who's the most important president, like who's what where. But chicken wings, pizza, queso, burgers. I feel like that was pretty easy. Brats definitely should make an appearance too. I don't know, like you could you take queso off, put brats on? I guess regionally, sure. I don't know. But either way, that's good to go. But long story longer, NFL Legacy did up a Mount Rushmore for every single team. Now, they're really interesting go down. Now, strictly players, because obviously Bud Grant would be on there for the Vikings if coaches weren't involved, but they're not. But for the Vikings, it's Alan Page, Adrian Peterson, Fran Tarkenton, Francis Tarkenton, as well as Cris Carter, CC. Now, there's already some controversy, because Cris Carter is on there over Randy Moss. Now, part of it is Randy Moss played a lot of his career elsewhere. Cris Carter, he started his career in Philly, was it 1 season in Miami? Something like that. But the bulk of his career was with the Vikings, right? And that's what does matter at the end of the day in this debate. So overall, I agree with the 4. So Alan Page, most unofficial sacks for a defensive tackle ever, because Pro Football Reference did a great job going back and checking out the tape. For 148.5 sacks, which pretty damn impressive. He was the anchor of the Purple People Eaters. Adrian Peterson, 2012 MVP, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All-Pro, leads the Vikings in rushing yards as well as rushing touchdowns. So he certainly solidified his place. Francis Tarkenton, a 1975 MVP. Oh, yeah, Alan Page also won an MVP. No big deal. A 9-time Pro Bowler. When he retired, he was the all-time passing leader in the NFL, not just with the team, in several categories. And CC, Cris Carter, leading the franchise in basically every single receiving category. 8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first team All-Pro, Hall of Famer. All 4 of these guys are Hall of Famers. So can't really argue. Right, so I feel again. I understand the controversy of Randy Moss versus Cris Carter, but like I said, we'll get into that. But overall, it's I feel like it's a really good list. So other players deserving consideration. Now, I'm sure there's this list could be 30 names long, right? And so I'm sorry if I didn't necessarily touch on your specific guy that you want on there, but I feel like if there was going to be a push, Randall McDaniel should be on there. But the problem is, who do you take off? I don't know. I guess it would be close between 8. Well, I guess it probably would be Adrian or Cris Carter. Adrian was MVP. All right, but it would be close. But Randall McDaniel was a bad dude, man. Obviously a Hall of Famer, 12-time Pro Bowler, 7-time first team All-Pro, and he's just one of the greatest guards of all time. Right, John Randall, Hall of Famer, 137.5 sacks, tied for 10th all-time officially, 6-time first-team All-Pros. Not bad for an undersized dude from Texas A&I Kingsville, right? Chris Dolman. So Dolman is kind of like Randy Moss, where 150 sacks, 5th all-time officially. He's an absolute stud, rest in power. But only 10 of his 15 seasons were with the Vikings, and also about a third of his sacks were elsewhere with Atlanta and other teams. So, that's where it comes in. Where was Chris Dolman a better player in total than one of these 4 guys? Maybe, but the fact that, like I said, a third of his career was elsewhere, sure. Same with Randy Moss. Is Randy Moss better than Cris Carter? Probably, but Cris Carter had more seasons in purple, right? And Randy Moss, like we mentioned, 7.5 seasons here. You forget about the half in 2010. But also, he had 3 of his 4 first-team All-Pros here with the Vikings. The only one that wasn't here was obviously 2007 with the Patriots. Paul Krause, his interception record is never going to be broken because quarterbacks don't throw that many interceptions anymore, because if they do, they get benched, right? But 81 interceptions, all-time leader. I mean, that certainly speaks for itself. Ranieri sort of gets lost in the shuffle, but he was one of the best tackles in NFL history. Hall of Famer, 7-time Pro Bowl, 6-time first-team All-Pro. Mick Tingelhoff is probably the best center in team history. Hall of Famer, 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first-team All-Pro. And then you got guys that got the hat. So Jim Marshall, heart and soul of this team, Iron Man, should be in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, he definitely deserves consideration. Now, Jared Allen, sort of like Dolman and Moss, where a lot of his career was elsewhere. He had his rookie deal with the Chiefs, came over here via trade, then eventually went to the Bears as well as the Panthers. But 130 sacks, 136 sacks, 12th all-time. Culinary Academy certainly got after things. But like I said, whenever there's something like this, it's not so much who makes it, but who got snubbed. But you always have to factor in, like, who do you take off, right? So, I mean, overall, like, I do agree with these four. Like, you can't really go wrong here. But I would make a major push for McDaniel and maybe John Randall, but then again, who do you take off, right? Are you going to take off, Cris Carter, Adrian Peterson, and put Randall McDaniel on? It's pretty close. I guess if I was forced to, I guess I would take CC off. Since Adrian did win the MVP here, that's the decider. So it would be Page, Peterson, Tark, as well as Randall McDaniel. Yeah, but I mean, it's close. It's close. But yeah, it's fun speculation. Also, go check out the other teams. NFL Legacy did a great job on this. But your thoughts are thoughts. Take a look at the Vikings Mount Rushmore. Who made it? Who should have made it? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.